Good evening, councillors, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this meeting of Boston Town Area Committee. I'm Councillor Barry Pierpoint, the chairman of this committee, and tonight my vice chairman is Councillor Mike Gilbert to my right. He's acting on behalf of Councillor Marston, who's not available this evening. So thank you for sitting in for me. Before we start, may I remind everyone in attendance this evening that the meeting is being streamed live on YouTube. Before we move into the preliminary item this evening, agenda, I need to run through a few housekeeping details, especially for those in the public gallery. Restroom and facilities are available for ladies on this floor and halfway down the main stairwell for gentlemen. In the event of a fire alarm sounding, officers will escort everyone out of the building to the nearest fire safety point in the car park. Will all persons addressing this meeting please do so through the microphone system at all times, as this meeting is being recorded. Please be advised that abuse or intimidation of any kind will not be tolerated. Anyone who is deemed to breach this requirement will be warned and asked to refrain. If the behaviour persists, they will be asked to leave the meeting. Now we'll move to part one of the agenda, the preliminaries. Apologies for absence.
We have received apologies for absence from Councillors Arayan Bath, Creswell and Marston. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Bo. Right, declarations of interest. Does any member wish to declare any interest in respect of any items on the agenda this evening? No, thank you very much. Minutes. Do I have permission to sign the minutes from the meeting held on the 26th of September 2024? Agreed? Thank you. Oh, the date. Beg your pardon. 28th. So, right. Are there any outstanding actions from the last meeting?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. There are two actions to report. The first is that the return report on the footway lighting will come to the next meeting, ensuring that it is fully detailed to allow members to make any decision they so wish. And the second is that we also received a letter from Mr. Wolfe raising concerns about cyclists around the streets of Boston. The letter has been acknowledged and a response was sent to Mr. Wolfe last week. A copy of the two letters has been circulated to all members this evening. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Phil. Are there any questions from members of the public received?
No, Chairman.
No questions. So you'd like to speak then, would you, Mr. Wolfe? You'd like to speak? Yes, okay, well, if you'd like to speak, then please take the chair and take the microphone.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much, Councillor Pierpoint, for your reply, and I will be taking up with the main council.
Thank you.
It's just a very quick question to the council. With regards to the foreign visitors that we have living in Boston, are there any groups or societies or meeting places that they can go to where they can learn the laws of the land and the laws that govern this town of ours, even to learn the language? I don't know if this has ever come up before, but if they're going to be integrating into the society, surely we should be helping them to do so. I just wondered if there is any way of doing that.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the question, and I do appreciate that, and I understand where you're coming from. I don't know anything personally, but I don't know if anybody around the table would be able to speak. Councillor Danny.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There is one thing I want to touch, Mr. Wolfe, is about cycling in town. Just to make you aware that the police have the right to issue a fixed penalty on the spot of £50, any cyclist on the pedestrian path. I did contact a lot of officers and we talked about it. Some of the answers actually was, if we touch anyone and if something happens to them or fall down or hurt themselves, we will be blamed. And that was an answer from an officer. However, the last public protection meeting at the county council, which is I attend, I did mention again the same issue, especially with a lot of kids coming out of school around 3:30 to 4 o'clock without helmet, without anything to protect them from any accident. And I did mention also that they cycle through the pressing, which is Bargate, and they go very fast. So the police now, they are working on it, and I hope they will stop it. However, it's still going on, and I think it's in the hand of the police. They have to work hard on that. That's one thing about cycling. And the second thing for the immigrant or foreigners, probably how they can integrate in the community and learn the values of the British people. I think the college, they have classes for that. They can learn English if they want to. And also we instigated, I think 2020, 3 lessons at Heaven High for anybody who wish to go and learn English, but it doesn't happen. It's not many people who attend it. So it is a very difficult matter. I think all what we can do is just when we see something happen in front of us, which should inform these people that it shouldn't be like that. It's like, for example, I give you an example. You know, we have signs in the town center. You should not feed the pigeons. And some of them, they take the bread and throw it. And I used to go and tell them, look at the sign, you could be fine. So I think all of us, we should be responsible. If you see something which is not right, we should correct it. And I think probably that will teach people some of the values we have in Britain. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Danny. What I'm thinking about is it has been reported, not very nicely by some of the people, that there are a lot of groups standing around the marketplaces, intimidating people. Some people are saying, I'm scared to go in there. If there are groups of people in there, surely if they had somewhere to go, like, I don't know, church hall or somewhere like that, where they can just go, get a coffee, stay off the streets, especially in this time of year when it's cold, unpleasant, dark, somewhere they can congregate and sit down and relax. Then other people can go along there, talk to them, possibly give them some lessons or talk to them and give them the information. That's what I'm talking about there, not lessons to go along, because nobody wants to go to lessons. Nobody wants to go back to school or go to college. So an informal thing, that's what I'm trying to think about.
Okay, well, I hear what you're saying, and I tend to agree with you. And I think we've had discussions with the police and we've had discussions with other groups in community groups. And I think this is an issue, but I'm going to ask Councillor Dorian to have a few words anyway now about the situation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to pick up on your first point, Mr. Wolf, around the English language classes. In preparation for devolution, which is coming down the track at quite a pace, I know that the upper tier authorities, perhaps Councillor Danny knows more, the 3 upper tier authorities of Lincolnshire County Council, North Links Council and North East Links Council have done an extensive piece of work on the provision of English classes. And there are dozens upon dozens upon dozens of providers in the 3 areas, in the greater Lincolnshire area. And so we're waiting for that work to come forward so that we can analyse it and understand it and see what additional provision, if any, we need to start looking at. Clearly, it's the county council who are the provider, or will be. It will eventually be the mayor who's the provider of post-16 education. So I think that's one reason the work's been done. But it's a valid point you use. As to the congregation that gathers in the marketplace causing fear, a lot of that is the perception of crime. And I'm glad you're agreeing with me, because we are the 3rd safest borough in the county, in Greater Lincolnshire, and the perception of crime is very high, but the reality of being a victim of crime is actually very low. It's very unlikely that you would become a victim of crime in our marketplace. And marketplaces, ever since God were a lad, were places of congregation. It's where people meet, where they loiter, where they sit and chat. That's why we have benches there. We want them to be well used, but we want people to feel safe as well. That's really important. So that's why our community safety team have been working really hard. We've got the new wardens there. We've introduced, I know the pigeons were a problem, we've introduced the PSPO for the pigeons, but it's a dynamic situation. It's one that we don't ever take our eye off the ball. We've increased our use of CCTV, and this administration has paid a great deal of attention to the marketplace. And I'd welcome any community groups that want to come in and see our CCTV suite for themselves. If they want a briefing on the whole of the community safety outfit, Mr. Chairman, that's something we can arrange for community groups, because it does help reassure people. And I know when we've had children here, we've had teenagers here say sometimes they don't feel safe. When we've taken them to the CCTV suite, they've been awestruck, thinking, wow, we had no idea there were so many cameras and so many people watching us. So that's given them a sense of security. So that offer's there, and we can arrange it for you as well, Mr. Wolf, if you would like.
Yes, John.
Just to add to that, we've also got a community coordinator as well, and their role is to work with specific groups, identify any need, and then channel them in the right direction. So that's something that the council has invested in.
Thank you. Are you taking it further though to try and get more of the groups to come and do things? You know,
so a range of networks, one of which is Community Leadership Network. What we can do is share the details for the community coordinator with the minutes, so people can be made aware of their role and provide further detail.
I mean, sometimes, you know, I've spoken to one or two of our friends, and you know, they don't always feel as if they are part of the community, and they're perhaps a little bit shy to come forward. They probably feel that, you know, it's not all about them always coming to us, it's about us going to them. It's, you know, it's a case of really getting to meet them and mix with them. And I think that's what the problem is. I think that's why sometimes we're not getting the gelling going properly. And I think that's what we ought to be doing more of, probably.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Chair. Their role is an outreach role. So they are, you know, reaching out to people, going to them in their settings where they may where they may gather to ensure that they do get the support that they need.
Could I suggest then that Mr. Wolf meets one of your colleagues and he perhaps shares his views and thoughts on that? Because I think that might be good for Mr. Wolf to understand what their role is, and at the same time them understanding his concerns or what he sees as probably a concern. And that way, you know, I think we can probably start to get things working better.
That's a really helpful steer. Take that up.
Happy with that? Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, John, for that's a really important point John reminded me of that I didn't pick up. In actual fact, I've had a briefing from Claudia, and the work that she did in the first quarter of her appointment was stupendous. It blew me away. So perhaps with your permission, Chair, we could arrange for that briefing to be appended to the minutes, or you could invite her to a meeting to share the briefing that she gave me, so the committee hears that.
I think also it'd be a good idea if we could have to come to one of the BTAC meetings and address us at some point, because I think it would give the BTAC members here a good understanding of what she's doing in the community, because at the end of the day, we are the community here.
We'll take that as an action. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed. One very last point. I understand about the CCTV, but I actually talked to the police officer in the square, and he said it was no problems there at all. He was very happy to be there. I don't know if you know about the neighbourhood app on the internet that talks about everything. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I haven't.
No, there is an app on there called Neighbourhood, and they have a lot of people discussing what's going on. And this is where one person said that he's scared about the foreigners. I've been on there, I've been talking about it, and one thing that did come up and say was they liked seeing the Bobby on the beat. Okay, but thank you very much for all the information.
We've got to go in a moment because we've had our 10 minutes, but I'm going to thank you for the comment on Facebook about the market square and the town centre. You did a very favourable comment, I think it was.
Yes,
you.
I did.
And I read it. I didn't respond, but I'd like to thank you for what you said. It was very positive. It's nice to know that people like you are saying positive things about the town.
I've got the name of Mr. Smiley or Mr. Happy on there, because I try to be positive.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. Councillor Saviak.
No, I think Councillor Dorian, she said enough, and I just wanted to add there's quite a few communities as well, and they do free English lessons, so everyone is more than welcome just to come there. It's like Lithuanian community and Bulgarians, they have their own community as well. Yes, yeah, thank you.
I think you want to rephrase that by saying that Councillor Dorian actually covered it quite comprehensively. Thank you. Councillor Woodliff.
Just a short point, Chair. When I told people to get off their bikes in the Straight Bargate area, the language that's been used is purely English. It's not foreign nationals swearing at me and telling me where to go. It's English people, English youths who are doing it, you know, and very aggressively too. So I think it has to be put in perspective. There's issues with our own, you know, lads, if I put it that way. Thank you, Chairman.
Very kind of you. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Right, we're going to move on. Thank you. That concludes the preliminaries. Oh, do you want to speak, Councillor Austin?
Thank you. I think I'm very grateful to the incomers from other countries because they fill the jobs that some of our own local residents don't want to do. Thank you.
Point taken. Thank you very much. We'll move on then now. I'm going to move on because we've said enough on that. So let's move on to, that concludes the preliminaries. We're now going to part 2 of the agenda. And this is the Boston Town Centre Strategy and Action Plan. It's an annual review, pages 5 to 46 of your report. On the agenda this evening, I'm going to ask Councillor Broughton to present his report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening, fellow councillors. The presentation for this evening is the annual review of the Town Centre Strategy, which after going through scrutiny, BTAC and Cabinet last year was agreed on October the 25th, 2023. We are this evening updating you on progress made over the first 12 months and have 14 slides to help to do this. The slide you've got on the screen at the moment is to show what our aim was, to increase footfall into the town and make it a vibrant place that residents and visitors want to come and create a sense of pride, something which we can see being achieved here, one on the Mayfair and the other side of last year's Christmas event. This is the overview we are presenting tonight to tell you about the activity since adoption of the strategy and also anything that BTAC would like Cabinet to consider going forward. This slide, Town Centre, is just to remind you this is the area that the strategy covers in red, covering either side of the River Witham. And obviously the purpose of this review is to remind you of the vision we are as an administration have for Boston Town Centre and the objectives we set out along with your feedback and any recommendations you may have. The vision being a Boston Town Centre that brings all communities together, a safe place in which to enjoy our heritage, open spaces and public realm, while also supporting a vibrant retail and hospitality experience. Again, this is in your report, but our 7 key objectives of clean and tidy, safety, for businesses to thrive, residents and visitors to enjoy events, heritage and culture, having easy access to and from the town, build and support a cohesive community, and to work with partners and our excellent volunteer groups we have throughout our town to achieve this. Our action plan had 73 original points, but increased to 74 due to this being a live working document and was based on 4 themes that can be seen here. Out of the 74 actions, we have completed 24, with 47 on target and only 3 requiring further work and attention, which as the portfolio holder, I feel shows the hard work and effort that has gone into this by our hard working teams in the past 12 months. This is a summary of this year's in the images on the screen, starting from the top left, which was one of the new events in the town this year, Boston's Strongest and Food Fest, which was very popular and will be happening again in 2025, followed by our amazing Christmas festival, which drew national TV and radio publicity for all the right reasons. Next, we're promoting our 5-star food rated businesses, which there are many of. Cleaning work done by our excellent hard-working BTAC operatives, who I feel deserve great plaudits for the hard and sometimes unpleasant work they do and are mainly unseen, with many starting their day at 5 AM in the morning. The example here is of Still Lane, before, during and after the work's done by our hard workers. Our community side, including the popular beach event, which attracts all ages over the summer, and promotional work in the town centre. New car parking meters throughout the town, now accepting card payments as well as cash. Deep cleaning of our marketplace and done by a local firm, Hydra Shine. And of course, our floral displays throughout the town in partnership with North Sea Camp. The next 4 slides look a bit closer at the 4 thematic areas. Clean and safe, this includes the introduction of the community rangers who have been very well received in the town, as we've just been speaking about. New changing places toilets, volunteer CCTV spotters, deep cleaning throughout different areas of the town, as well as PSPOs on dog control and wild bird feeding. Open for business includes our growth team giving advice and guidance to businesses, town centre promotional material, as well as trade stands promoting the town at both Lincolnshire and Heckington shows, as well as a market development plan, which has been agreed by Cabinet to improve our long-standing twice weekly market, which is still one of the biggest in the county. We promised Christmas would return, which it did very successfully, and we are expecting this year's event to be even better, which is starting from tomorrow until Sunday. Delivered and assisted with external partners events during the year with new events like the Food Fest, Boston Strongest and Ska and Reggae, as well as the summer events programme in Central Park, including the beach event and also the Boston Big Local final event. Boston Big Local who did so many good things for the town over the years. Also a development plan for the Guildhall, which is progressing very well under the passionate leadership of Councillor Sharp, who also informed me that from August to October this year, visitor numbers to the Guildhall are up 24%, which is a testament to both Sarah and her team's hard work. And finally, transformation, where a new business forum has been developed, which is growing monthly with new businesses, attending and contributing with ideas and feedback. Also partners having delivered the Dolphin Lane project, and also progress in place shaping work such as the Rosegarth Square initiative. We're also very aware there is still much work to do, and we are focused on targeting fly tipping and envirocrime, continuing our deep clean work throughout the town, tackling antisocial behaviour and community safety concerns. We also know there is more place shaping work and transformation to look forward to, as well as activity in relation to the long-term plan for towns. But overall, I feel in the first year we have achieved a great start in steering our town in the right direction. So I therefore recommend for the committee to review the progress made to date, as provided in this report and its Appendix A, against the commitments made in the Town Centre Strategy Action Plan 2023 to 27. And also for the committee to provide feedback to be recommended to Cabinet to be incorporated into the annual review, including any potential future actions the committee feels should be built into the work for year 2. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Broughton, I'd like to congratulate you and John Leach on a superb strategy plan presentation. The work that you've done, the work you're doing, all the activity is unbelievable. It's just so much going on in this borough, in this town. I have to say that, you know, I've never seen so much vibrant activity in all my life since I've been living here. So I have to congratulate all the teams involved. It's really a first-class presentation, first-class strategy and plan. And, you know, really it shows that Boston can do things if it wants to. And I think that's where we're coming from. And I think the administration of the council, you know, I have to thank them as well for all the hard work, all the portfolio holders and everybody involved in all this, because it really is a very good teamwork effort where everybody's pulled together. And, you know, I just can't say enough how grateful and thankful I am to all the various people involved. And I'm going to open the meeting and take questions. Councillor Gleeson.
Thank you, Chair. I sang this report's praises at scrutiny last week. That's not going to stop me doing it again. What this report shows, and it's a great report because it shows such positive things, is that for too long our town suffered from administrations that weren't prepared to put the work in. And this shows that, you know, if you have an administration prepared to work and opposition councillors maybe who are prepared to support them, you can get things done. And so, you know, this is a great story. You know, the town has felt this year just so much better than it has in most of my time living here. And we're now running up to the Christmas event starting tomorrow. And I think this is going to be even better than it was last year because it already has such a large buzz about it. So do I have any recommendations? No, I think it's just keep up the good work. Most things are to plan. There are, what, 3 ambers that are not made. I mean, they will be rectified. We have a report next on some more things that we could be doing as BTAC, which we can discuss then. But really, I think it's consolidate. My only, I think, suggestion from last time was, and I think it is happening, is trying to bring in local groups to take over the running of some of these events so that they have future legs, you know, should the council lose interest at a later stage. And so, no, this is good. Great work done by officers, by the administration, Dale in particular. I mean, when I was previously a councillor, I was trying to press to have a food festival. And all I got was warm words and nothing happened. This time, I spoke to Dale, and the next thing, there's one's happening because they're prepared to work. And that's how we've got to take it forward. You know, the town will change and can become so much better if we start and keep working together. So well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gleeson, for those very kind words. Councillor Broughton.
Yeah, just to elaborate a little bit more, Councillor Gleeson, firstly, thank you for your lovely comments and also for the chair as well. We are working with external partners on some events next year, which hopefully will bring more into the town and obviously ease the burden on us paying for the events as well. So we will keep everybody informed on that.
Councillor Danny.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I'm going to say some few words and I will be very brief. It's not to please anyone here, but I will say the truth. Boston is clean. Boston is safe for me. It's safe for my family, safe for my kids. It's safe for everybody I know. And Boston, I'm pretty sure, and I'm sure I lived here for now over probably 14 years. It has a lot of things to offer. And when we made the decision to move to Boston, we liked Boston. And I still love Boston. It's my home. It's my town. It's my place where I live, where I do whatever I want to. It's Boston. I'm not going to suggest to amend anything. I think the strategy is fit for purpose. I think the team are doing good work. They're working on it. I will say thank you, a big thank you to the cleaners in the street who works 4 o'clock in the morning to go and clean the streets because I see them every day. They're cleaning on daily basis. However, there is a few spots here and there, people who say, oh, it's dirty, but it's minor things. But the town is clean. They do a good job. I think the events created is one of the main bridges to make sure that the communities are involved in it and make the integration much more easier for everyone. And I think that's perfect for us. The other thing I will say is that I can tell you that there is 2 restaurants or eateries are opening by the end of this month. One is Polish, which is your old rumbling thumb. And the other one, it's replacing the little kitchen at the Water Plaza Fall. It's a Bulgarian place. And I would like to invite Mr. Wolf for a coffee on my account at the Bulgarian coffee shop anytime you wish to. So you can meet with people and talk to the owners so we can see where we can stand. So as I say, things are looking good. Most of the businesses, they are happy. So I think it's the right way and I will support whatever you do, guys. And anything you need from me, please, as you know, you can always contact me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for that brief report, Councillor Danny. That's very kind of you. Well, you said you're going to be brief. Councillor Woodliff.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I have full support for what Councillor Broughton is doing. I think it's an excellent step forward. But I do note in the Standard this week, there's an unfortunate story, isn't there? Where people are complaining that we are an afterthought. It is on the front page of the Standard, which I'm sure you've all read. So there is some issues here. Now, I don't understand what's going on here, but there is an issue here. Perhaps Councillor Broughton, you've probably read the article, I'm sure. Maybe you can, give us more details on it. I think this is all excellent, by the way. I think I agree with everything Councillor Gleeson said and Councillor Danny and so on. And I think it's a great step forward. I think in a way it's a change though, isn't it? Perhaps there's a change here we're looking at whereby the town centre is no longer the main commercial centre, but becomes a place where people enjoy themselves. which I think is perhaps.
The
could
strange
be-
thing is, Councillor Woodley, whatever you do, you're never going to please everybody. And there's
No,
always
I
going to
know.
be somebody somewhere who's going to complain about something. Never mind if you turn the place upside down, there'd always be somebody. And I don't think that's a headline for for a newspaper front page, quite frankly. I think that's completely taken out of context there, I'm sure. But I'm going to let Councillor Broughton have a word in a moment. So, Councillor Broughton, you just want to just come back on that point there for me?
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, we're actually a victim of our own success because after last year's Christmas event, we want more and more people have applied to join the market this year. And obviously, we've took the bookings. People have had all the chances that everybody else has to sign up. In the marketplace, we've took 3 days. People who wanted to book for all 3 days, they've took the priority. And unfortunately, it's upset a few of the regular market traders who stand on a Saturday. But it was a case of SAG couldn't, the Safety Advisory Group wanted a certain limit. So once we got the number, we actually, it was either cancel the Saturday market altogether or find an alternative place for some to go. I'm suggested where they're actually going to be going down the Bargate end, because obviously this year we've got the synthetic ice rink, we've got the fair down there, obviously events are going on in Pescod Square. It will be a busy area down there. So to me, that was a place to not only just put an extra market, but also give some of the businesses down that end as well, some of the Christmas visitors. Because last year everything was in the marketplace. This year we've extended it. We've gone to both sides. So we have got markets both sides of town on Friday and on the Saturday. It's not just the Saturday traders down there. There is some normal Saturday market traders in the marketplace, but they're standing for all 3 days.
I was say to you, Councillor Broughton, that is to me what I call negative press, and it's not good. They're not helping this borough or this town. All they're doing is damaging it. And just 1 or 2 people complaining about something, taken right out of context and blowing it up into a big, massive ball. I think the press ought to be got at through the council here and put something back in return, explaining all the things that we're doing. Because that, I read that, it's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely appalling. And I'm just very annoyed that the media are doing that to us. Back to you.
That's a headline on one of the local papers. On the other local paper, it's plastered all over about the Christmas event, everything that's happening and everything else. Again, why that's been put on there, why it's made the headlines, obviously they haven't got any of them. But to me, we ought to be shouting about the town. This is just running it down. And to be honest, there's some traders who's actually made comments on there. All they're doing is actually damaging the reputation of the market and stopping people coming. We should be talking the town up all the time. All the negativity we get, we've got a handful of people who's negative about the town, not just on the market, but about the town in general, the cleanliness. As Councillor Darnay said, the leader, Councillor Dorian, we are doing our best. And while we keep running the town down with these minority people saying things, it's not doing the town any good. We've got so much culture, heritage, one of the biggest markets in the county. We've got new businesses, again, as Councillor Darnay said, and there's actually a third one opening up in Italian Vincenzo's down West Street in the very near future. We've got businesses coming into the town. Let's keep talking the town up. To me, that is nothing.
I think you're not doing a good job. I think you're doing an exceptional job. And I think we must, we're punching above our weight here, and we're getting the results and people are seeing it. And you say 1 or 2 people are spoiling it for us. Those people need to be held to account, that newspaper, and they're brought here and chastised in front of all the committee. I'm going to go back to you, Councillor Woodliffe.
Because you did interrupt me. Yes, I mean, I know you do. I mean, it's in the press. We have to face that fact. We don't control the press. It's not a police state or whatever. We have to accept the fact that people have different opinions and so on. So if you want to drag the press in here, well, you can do so, but I wouldn't advise it. I mean, I taught this lad here, David Seymour, so I know him from the past. I support all that we do here, but I'm aware of the fact that some people have a different opinion. They're entitled to that opinion, aren't they? That's what happens in a free society. But I think that I don't see why you should change anything. I mean, I think everything is great. I mean, I think we're doing a great job.
It is great.
But we are doing a great job, but some people have a different opinion. And when you have two newspapers in the town, one will take one side and the other will take the other, won't they?
I think the press should actually listen to both sides of a story, not just put one side of a story across on the front page.
I've
That's where
never
I
known
come
a
from.
newspaper do that, Barry.
I know.
They're all the same.
We're going to move on from the newspaper report because otherwise we're going to get distracted. Let's move on now to Councillor Gilbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got an outstanding issue. I want to first of all echo everything that's been said. I think it's a really positive report, and I think I've definitely noticed an improvement in the appearance of the town centre over the last 2 years, and I think I need to sort of congratulate the administration for achieving that. However, there's one thing which I've been banging on about for a number of years, which hasn't yet been resolved, and I guess remains an outstanding item, and that is the wheelie bins on pavements. I was driving down James Street quite recently when a van clipped a wheelie bin and sent it spinning down the road. It didn't damage my car, didn't damage the van, but if there'd been any pedestrians in the vicinity, it could have caused them some sort of injury. So I wonder whether we could look at that issue again, try and identify a solution for, in particular, James Street and Station Street, which I think are two significant streets in the town centre, that if we do get tourists coming in, Boston 400, it's an area of the town they're going to definitely notice. That's one observation. The second observation was brought to me by a member of the public who said that they'd seen a lot of children in the Central Park using the equipment, particularly the skate park area, without safety equipment on. And I wonder whether that falls under our safety obligations, what liability we may have if any children are injured as a result of using our equipment and not being properly equipped with the safety gear they need. And the final observation is that I wonder whether under CS18 we need to include birds and not feeding the birds as one of our antisocial behaviour objectives. It's in there along with all the others, spitting and all the rest of it. Include that.
We've taken note of what you said. I've asked about Democratic Services to list all that and get the information and come back to us on that point. Before you just go to you, just hang on a second. I'll go to Councillor Drayton first because we've got a queue here. Hang in. Come on.
Well, when we started out, this was a 4-year project, and what's actually been achieved is quite amazing, really. Imagine what it's going to be like in 4 years, because Boston was neglected for a lot of years. The negative publicity will go away, but we can't take a foot off the pedal. We've got to carry on doing what we believe in. And I think you've done a marvellous job. Everybody around this table. Thank you.
Councillor Austin, thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you. Well, I think I've probably lived here longer than everybody else. Yeah. Well, I see nothing wrong with Boston. I seem to remember in my teens, shall we say, that the police had to walk around in pairs because, of violence and things like that. I think they don't have to do that now. But also, I'm a BTAC ward, but the meaning of town centre is a little bit vague, and I shouldn't think many of you realise that, I'll cut out 3 schools and 2 nursing homes, but I've got 48 businesses in my patch and thriving. That's the entire Marsh Lane industrial estate. And, I'm really proud to be representing them. People go and work there. That's where the economy of Boston itself comes from. So, we're in the food valley. Things are grown up sort of Butterwick way, if you like. They end up down in sort of Hull Beach, but in between they stop off in Marsh Lane and various things happen to them. Now, I did an audit, as I say, of all the businesses in my patch, and I was amazed that there were so many and they're all thriving. So I'm very pleased.
Thank you, Councillor Austin. That's a very good comment about the thriving area that you're in. I'm pleased it's going well. Councillor Dorham.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could just start, Councillor Austin, would you kindly share that list with Councillor Broughton so we can invite them to his business forum, please? because I'm serious. Yeah, absolutely. Why shouldn't they? I was just going to pick up on Councillor Gilbert's point. Yeah, I hear what you say about the wheelie bins, and I honestly think we've raised this. I'm trying to rack my brain, and I think there is a potential for us to offer a solution to those residents by offering them like a biffa bin at the end of a road or something like that. However, I do seem to recall it's very difficult to get a consensus, because some people love the wheelie bins and don't want to part ways with them, and other people recognise, like you do, they can be a hazard at times. So let's pick up outside of this meeting, but I'm happy to revisit that. The other points you've raised, we'll come back to you on the others as well. Thank you.
Right, just one more, then Councillor Dunn, and then we'll move on.
No, just to complement on what our leader has said and what Michael has said about the wheelie bins, because we went for a walk there, you and I think they have enough space at the back of the houses to put their wheelie bins. So therefore, I think the council, if we talk to them, they may put them at the back, because there's enough space, Madam Leader, I can assure you, we have seen them. And I think it's just by being probably lazy, leave it there and all week and then just take it next day. But there is enough space. That's all.
Yeah, I think the issue with some of the terrace cottages in the town centre is the rear yards, the rear paths have been blocked by the residents, so you can't actually get access to all the properties in the terrace. There may be an argument for suggesting to the residents they open up that pathway again.
If you don't mind, I just want to ask, you know, on page 5 of this report here, it's the actions completed over the past 12 months, the last year. Can you give me some examples of what impact these actions have actually achieved? It's on page, well, it's page 9 actually, or 5, whichever page you're looking at. It talks about 2.3.6.2. It talks about the actions completed over the last 12 months, past year, and it's very, you know, pleasing to read. I'm on page 9 on the bottom of the page. You've got any sort of examples, ideas of what the impact that those actions have created? Just for curiosity.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind the report speaking for itself in a way, if I may, Chair, because on page 12 you've got feedback from the community itself, the people that we want to reach. So if you talk about the deep clean that took place, the feedback we've had is massive improvement, well done, on the introduction of community rangers, a positive step in the right direction to help our town and its residents feel safer. I wish them every success. On the floral displays, thank you so much. The planters look wonderful and make such a difference to the town. Another comment, they look wonderful. It really does make the town feel warmer, friendlier, brighter. It's also good for wildlife and contributes to the bigger ecosystem. Thank you. Regarding events, what a fantastic atmosphere in the town. I was one of the helpers on the tombola and guessed the number of sweets in the jar for the Boston Pulmonary Fibrosis Support Group. And due to the generous support of the visitors to the store, we raised £431.12, for which we thank you. We really are, through this work, reaching out to our communities, even down to feeding wild birds. Thank you for this action. Our wonderful historic St Botolph's Church will not now suffer stone erosion damage from the pigeons' acidic droppings. So our ambition really was to reach the people, and the people are feeding back to us, Chair.
Thank you, John. That's very kind of you. Right, I think we're going to move on then from this report now. So can I just say that we've all reviewed the progress made and provided feedback. All the comments have been recorded and noted by officers. Are we all in agreement as to what's been recorded? Are we all in favour of the report? Yes. Thank you very much, and thank you very much to both Dale and to John. Thank you. Right, we're going to page 47 of the report now. This is the BTAC events report. Item 2 on the agenda then, and it starts on page 47 of the agenda pack. I shall ask the portfolio holder, Councillor Broughton, to present the report. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Chair. The BTAC budget incorporates a variety of services for the residents of Boston, including the delivery of a varied events programme throughout the financial year. This report provides an update on the events that have been delivered in 2024 and provides proposals for an events programme for 2025, with 2 options for the committee to consider. The Boston Borough Council events team have delivered a successful calendar of events in 2024, engaging over 13,000 residents. Full details of this can be found in Appendix 1 in your report. But highlights have included the Classic Car and Vintage Show, the Beach in the Park and associated events which engage families and groups of all ages in free activities over the summer, a skate jam event engaging teenagers in healthy activities and lots of small family-friendly activities in between. The team have also supported the delivery of many externally organised events, including Boston's Strongest and Food Fest and the Ska and Reggae Festival. The report includes these to demonstrate the varied programme of events that have taken place in the town that the team have been involved in. This weekend, starting tomorrow, sees the last big event of the year with Boston Christmas Festival taking place, and this is bigger and better than last year. Proposed events for 2025 include a music event in partnership with Boston College. The team are keen to bring back the beach event to Central Park, as this is very popular with families and provides free activities in the summer for people of all ages. Following the success this year, is it proposed that Boston's Strongest and Food Fest takes place again in 2025. The team are also proposing the performance space in the marketplace is utilised more with a programme of local performance and activities for children. The team will continue to work with partners in the Cultural Quarter on Halloween activities. And this report is also asking for contribution towards the return of the Christmas Festival in 2025. These are all included in both options. Option 2 includes the addition of a one-day retro music event in Central Park, which will take visitors back to the music of the 1960s to the 2000s. This would be a development of the Classic Car and Vintage Festival, broadening its appeal to a wider audience. The team are also working with partners to explore other options for music events if the committee chooses option 1. The report therefore asks the committee to choose either option 1, which requests $41,500 for a programme of events that includes $17,000 towards the Christmas Festival in 2025, but does not include an in-house retro music event, or option 2, which requests £58,500 for a programme of events that includes £17,000 towards a Christmas Festival and £17,000 for a BTAC funded music retro festival. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Broughton. Can I just ask a question, because I'm not quite clear here? There's two options here. I mean, are we saying that then we're going to spend an extra £17,000 above the budget then if we go into option 2? Is that what we're saying here?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so the members have got to decide whether they want to spend an extra 17 grand or stick to the 42 or 41,500. Let's take some questions from the committee. Anybody got any questions? Councillor Gleeson.
Thank you, Chair. Well, my view is actually quite simple, really. If we can afford it, we should do the music festival. Yeah, we obviously haven't set a budget yet for next year, and I know that we are restricted in how much we can increase our precepts and things, but I do think that we should arrange our budget so that we can afford that £17,000. I suppose we have to have a caveat that we can do that, but I think we should be able to look at our budget, amend our budget in such a way as to be able to do that. So I'm happy to propose that we support option 2 and that we look to arrange our budget for next year to include sufficient funds to do a music festival. I am forever having people come to me and say, you should bring back Party in the Park. I know we can't afford to do that and so on, but I think this will be, again, a first step. If we show we can do it, then we might be able to get some external interest to do something in the following years that will grow. And so I do think it is something that we should try and achieve within our budget. So I propose option 2.
Okay, anybody else want to ask any questions? Councillor Izard.
Yes, just reading this report. So there is an option of an outside body running this 3-day music event rather than us funding it. But do we know much about their background? Have they got the knowledge and experience to be able to do it rather than maybe someone who comes in, organises it and then collapses it just before the programme starts?
No, these are well-known people who run events across the county, and major events with big names was run last year in the county, and no, they're not some fly-by-night people who just want to put an event on. These are well-known, financially secure businesses who are very interested, but this is very early stages, so obviously we can't divulge who these people are or are not at the moment, but they are people of reputation.
Okay, thank you for that. I understand what you're saying, Paul, and I normally would agree, but I just feel that, you know, our finances might be a bit stretched. We don't know, judging from that budget review. If we've got someone who's prepared to put on a show and take on the responsibility of funding it and whether they make a profit from it, that's got to be something to be considered anyway.
Do you want to respond to that, Councillor Broughton, or not at this stage?
Like I say, we are on early stages. We've only had one meeting with these people who's staked an interest at the moment. But obviously, we've got this idea of this plan that we have, which we're asking for the extra 17,000 for, which we feel will be for all families, from youngsters to older people, and bring the people into the town once again, not only to create a brilliant event, but also for the businesses, the market, and everybody else. And again, getting the town recognised as something that can put on events and also bring people into the town, and hopefully businesses will follow with it as well.
I think it's an event. Obviously, it's going to be a cost, but the cost is going to be outweighed by the number of people attending and all the activity around it and all the various businesses that might gain from that event. That's what you're saying, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, obviously with the aspect that we're looking at, rather than like just the vintage, which is like the 40s and 50s, we're going from the 60s to the 2000s. So that's like 40 years. It brings a full family's events in, and it also opens up so much capability for outside businesses to come in, outside vendors, charities and everything. So that's the way we're looking at it.
And I think it possibly could lend itself to some sponsorship as well, I would imagine, to pay for some of the costs, which is what Councillor Izard's illuminating into saying, you know, the cost of 17 grand's a lot of money, but food for thought. Okay, right, we go on to Councillor Danny.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First thing, I want to second the proposal of Councillor Gleeson. They already make the thing. Secondly, is that I do believe everything in life costs, and success doesn't come easy. You have to fight for success. You have to explore always all the ways which can lead you to success. And I think we have here the financial portfolio holder, Councillor Sandeep Ghosh, and I think he's aware of probably where we can probably manage to fund some few pennies here and there, and I think make this event successful. We need all these events, and believe you in me, this is the only way which is can bring communities together and make Boston a place to visit around Lincolnshire and probably around England. So we have to do things different. We have to fight for the things what we have. And as I say, I'm supporting, you know, whoever is fighting for this cause, and I think it would be a good idea for us to do that, and I'll just go forward. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you, Councillor Danny. We've noted that you're seconding the proposal, but we're going to have the questions first, and we'll come back to that in a second. Can I go on to Councillor Gilbert next?
I'm just conscious of the fact that we, for the last 10 years, we've had Boston Big Local contributing to the financing of some of these events, and they're no longer with us. They're no longer a body that can finance or offer any finance to us. So I think we need to maintain the funding for events in Boston for as long as we're possibly able to do so. I'd like to think, and one of the ambitions I had when I was involved with Boston Big Local in the past, was that we almost have a kind of an annual season where we have events that are fixed in the calendar. People can anticipate them coming up, look forward to them. I'm thinking in particular about the beach events, but there are other events as well of a similar nature. So I too would support the proposal for the higher budget for the forthcoming year, in the hope that we can again start to establish some regular events that the people of Boston can look forward to as the year rolls round.
Thank you, Councillor Gilbert. Now to Councillor Gleeson.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a bit of a chicken and egg situation here. You know, because of the way the council works, we have to commit some budget ideas now to enable us to do things in the summer. Now, should it go really well and we get outside funding coming in, that means we don't have to spend all of the £17,000. We have that money to use for other events during the year, and that would be great. But the problem is, if we don't allocate the money now, we can't allocate it next summer because we haven't had the budget there. So I do feel we need to go for the most we can. I assume this figure here, and no one's standing up and saying, "Oh, this is impossible." That it is something we can achieve, and so I think we go for the higher budget, earmark the 17,000 for the music event. Should it turn out, come the spring, we've got external funding for part of that, then we as a committee can maybe add a couple more events during the summer. But at least we do have the money there to ensure that one event happens.
Thank you, Councillor Gleeson. I'm going to go to Councillor Woodliff now for questions.
Thank you, Chairman. I suppose one of my questions is the event insured? Because we live in very climatic, unpredictable times. You don't really know what's going to happen. I mean, it's so warm in the winter and it's so cold the next day. You know, we don't know what's going on. And so I wonder whether we are insured against the financial risks here. The other thing is the music event, is it going to be outside or inside? I don't know quite what's meant by that. I mean, in principle, I've got nothing against any of this. I'd support it. You know, and that's the top. You know, what's my colleague here?
All the events that I used to run in the past were all insured, just in case of weather. Yeah. If there are outside ones for weather, you need to be insured, because if obviously there's a lot of cost involved.
That's right.
And I don't know whether the organisation that's putting the event on will charge us if the event doesn't go ahead, or whether whatever. So they should be insuring the event rather than us. But there needs to be some insurance somewhere. I think you're quite right.
In case the weather turns
correct.
Nasty. Correct. You know, I hope it all goes well. I support these type of things. Always have supported it.
Noted.
But we live in difficult times, don't we?
Noted. Thank you very much, Councillor Gosh.
Thank you, Chair. Just a point Councillor Danny mentioned, I'm sitting here not as a portfolio holder, instead a BTAC member. One question I want to ask is the 17,000. I'm assuming it's a guesstimate, not a real amount. The second point is there any earning potential, because these events can bring businesses and earning potentials. Have we calculated those and look into those?
Thank you. So that is the budget. The £17,000 is the budget that we would work to. So in putting forward that amount, we have worked out what we would need in order to run that event. So that would be the maximum budget that we would need. In terms of income, there is the option. Obviously, the sponsorship has been mentioned. Also, if we have stalls, we will charge fees for stall holders. So there is an option to get some income on that. But ideally, we want it to be a free event for people to attend, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Dorian.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I'm happy to support this proposal. One thing that we haven't mentioned or in any detail is around sponsorship. And I know that you yourself, Mr. Chairman, brought forward an excellent paper on the potential for sponsorship. Sadly, it's languished for far too long, and I apologise to you for that. However, it's not, you know, fallen behind the bookshelf. It's very much on the bookshelf and waiting for someone to pick it up and finish reading it. Not anybody in this room, I hasten to add. So if we were to get that going, get some sponsorship, please, I'd love the committee to know that we would very much not touch the additional £17,000. It would be supplanted by any sponsorship money that we managed to get in. And so I think that's important to note. Now, there's something else I'm going to bring up, and I'm going to apologise now to you, Councillor Broughton, because I haven't raised this with you in private. So I feel like I'm handbagging you a little bit. You're sitting there thinking, oh God, what's she going to say? But one of the biggest regrets in my mayoral year was that I didn't deliver Boston Pride. And I set it to myself as an ambition, and I still have that ambition that we deliver a Boston Pride, because I think Boston, the LGBTQ plus community, really deserve to have a Pride festival. And it's something I would like to see happen. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to make it happen. And so I was going to say that, is that something that we have the potential to do? And if so, do we know what sort of ballpark figure we'd need for that? And is it possible to do it next year if I was to move a proposal to increase the 58,000 to something else, or the chairman doesn't like it? But
I do know East Lindsey did East, I think was it East Coast Pride, I think this year, which was quite a good success. Obviously, we haven't priced anything of that up or anything, but I'm more than happy to have a chat with you and our events team and see where we go from there.
I'm happy to park that then, because I don't want to handbag you, Dale, honestly. But I would like to see us aim for a Pride Festival then next year. I think that's.
Yeah, Councillor Dorian. I think in terms of commercialisation, sponsorship does offer a lot of opportunities, and we're already doing it in a small way with the Christmas event. Because I think is it Helen, the new lady that started, who's actually doing small amounts of sponsorship, and it's proven that local businesses are participating. And I say this, and I've got a great feeling that there's a lot more can be done in that area. And I think once people see the success, people like to buy into success, and businesses will buy into a success if they see an event or like the Christmas event and they see it. Their business, their products, their services will be on the platform off the back of the event, and therefore they get all the publicity and the PR and the marketing. And that's why they'll probably sponsor things, because they're not going to get business off the back of it. And I think we've got a lot more opportunities there going forward. It is a shame that report's nearly a year old and hasn't gone anywhere, because I think we could have made a lot of strides by now, but there you are. I'm in the hands of the gods. But anyway, I'm happy to support the recommendation for the 58,000, but I'll let Alison Austin speak as well. Councillor Austin.
Thank you. Yes, I'm supportive as well. And there's one thing that you can't put a monetary value on, and that is the feel-good factor. And that can, of course, have a knock-on for the future, can't it? So, yes, I'm supportive.
Councillor Isnard, back to you, and then we're going to wrap up and vote. Oh, and sorry, we've got two more to go then. Okay. Councillor Isard.
Yes, thank you. So I've listened to all your comments and some very good points made. So maybe what we could look at is agreeing the higher funding and allowing us to do it. But does that mean that the private individuals couldn't do an event also at another point of the year? I don't know when you was planning to spend the 17,000 on this music festival, but is it possible that we keep the outside group interested to do one as well? Because as Paul Gleeson said, it's really important that we do get community buy-in to do events in the future.
Obviously, that is the main priority. If we can get external businesses wanting to put events on, the more we can get that, the better it is for the town, for the residents, for the businesses, for everybody else. So, yeah, if this is agreed, please don't believe that they will then be put on the back burner. We are still waiting for the next meeting with them. That will still be going ahead, as well as everything else. So the more external, if any external businesses watching this tonight want to consider putting on an event, please contact us.
Thank you, Councillor Broughton.
In that case, I sort of agree with the higher budget.
Thank you. Councillor Saviak.
I would like as well to support option 2, because I feel that we are supporting as well people with mental health, as music is bringing a feeling. So I think this event will bring a lot of people into town as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Speaking to my proposal, I'm happy to take on board the sort of amendment that Councillor Dorian made, that as well as tonight supporting the higher budget, that we ask for a report for our next meeting for the costs of a Pride event, and for us to review putting that into our budget as well then. And apart from that, I'm happy with everything we said.
Very kind of you. Councillor Broughton.
Just carrying on from Councillor Savikian's point as well. Also, these sort of music events, we do look at going to Eastern European countries like the Lithuanians and all that, as we are doing with the Christmas event this year as well. So it's another way as well of integrating all the communities together as well. So, yeah.
I think we all agree, and listening to all the comments around the table this evening, I think we all agree that events bring people to the town. Events looks like the borough is proactive. Events cause good community feeling, and events does obviously help to promote the town and the borough. So we are all in favour of that, I'm sure. But we're going to take the proposals from Councillor Gleeson, and the second was from Councillor Anton Danny. Are we all in favour? Thank you. Anybody against? No. Motion carried then. Thank you. £58,000 is awarded. Let's get some money in to pay for it from sponsorship. Thank you. Right, we go on to item 3 now. This is the standing item work programme. It's in the page 67 of the agenda pack. Thank you, Councillor Broughton. Saves you any home. I'll ask Phil to add anything to the comments.
Thank you, Chairman. For the next meeting, we have at the moment the budget update, breakdown of BTAC charges, footway lighting and community outreach. And also this evening we did talk about the potential for a community coordinator briefing to be added to the agenda at an appropriate time. The proposal about bringing to Pride event costing to the meeting, and there's also, Chairman, was the look at potentially at the gate locking as a potential as well to add.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to add the gate locking of the Central Park onto the agenda for January because it's in a mess and I'm not happy, and I want it resolved and sorted out, and I think we're going to have a lot of problems if we're not careful. So that's on the agenda for January as well. Any other items anyone wants to mention about, or any questions anyone wants to ask on the work programme? Yes, fire.
Yeah, one of the things that's been troubling me over the last, I don't know, 12 months, 18 months or so is the state of the roads in the borough, particularly the traffic islands and the roundabouts. I know this is a county council responsibility, but it is letting the town down when so much good work is being done by us to improve the town and to improve the town's offer. The county council does seem to be letting us down a little. So I wonder whether there's any possibility of bringing the county council highways officer to this meeting to talk about how they can work with us to improve the overall appearance and amenity of the town centre in the areas that they are responsible for.
Thank you, Councillor Gilbert. Can we look at that on a work programme session, please, Phil? Is that possible? Everybody happy with that? Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just regarding the highways, I do have a personal meeting face-to-face every 2 months, 10 o'clock in the morning, sometimes Thursday or Wednesday, and we go around the town and we talk about all the issues. And I can tell you, like the island after Sluis Bridge, going down to Tattershall Road, there is an island there with 3 seats. We don't know who owns that 3 seats, if it's the Boston Borough Council or the highways, because I want them to be taken. It's dangerous. If somebody crash, that seat will be in your windscreen. So they acknowledge that. However, you don't know who owns it. So they are asking probably us at the Boston Borough Council to take them off. That's one of the things. Second thing, I was in town. We've seen the deterioration of some cobbles. So I wasn't happy with the repairs that they take, which is just some asphalt or whatever. They put tarmac on them and they leave them. They say they are waiting for the right cobbles to come back. It takes 4 to 6 weeks to be made. So cross fingers, they may do that. There is another issue, which is we sort it out, is Spain Lane just by the theatre. It used to be 2 bollards. People used to use it for cars. Now there is 3 bollards, if you notice there. So there is no cars going anymore there. So therefore, if there is anything, please let me know, and you can come with us for work 10 o'clock in the morning. And we can, anybody from the public would like to come, they're more than welcome, because I had members of the public walking around the town as well, talking about the issues in their streets, in their roads, whatever. So anybody wishing to come, I think Andy, many times you attended with us as well, and we talk about the issues. So we can work together and we can push them to do more work. Yes, yes.
Thank you, Councillor Danny, for that insight. Right, can we go to Councillor Gleeson?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, a couple of things, not particularly items themselves for the work programme, but previously when I was on BTAC, we used to see the police more often than we do nowadays. I mean, I might have missed it, but I think I've only been here once. It might have been twice. I haven't taken me. So we used to have a more regular attendance by the police, particularly after they stopped the their little own meetings that they used to have. Because I do think we should have slightly more involvement with them. And whilst I accept that both Councillors Austin and Danny are regulars here, we used to see our county councillors. I suppose we might start to see them getting closer to May, but county councillors, my understanding, normally attend parish council meetings if they have parishes in their area, and we are the equivalent of the parish council for Boston Town, or for actually for half of Boston. So whereas county councillors, as I understand it, do go to the parish meetings, they're not coming here. They always used to come, and they were given a chance always to address the committee about anything in their division, and they would take on board things relevant to their division. We just seem to be ignored. I know from my own experience now, it's very hard to get a reaction from the county council in my division. And so I just think, both of those really, we should be treated by them the same as they treat the parish councils.
Thank you, Councillor Gleeson. As far as I know about the police, I think they come either every 2 years or every 1 year. I can't remember. Well, I think they were here last year doing a presentation, if I remember rightly, Phil. Is that right?
Yes, Chair. The monthly meeting is not one they can sustain, so they've agreed they will come periodically. I think I'm just not quite sure what the period was. We'll have to go and check.
I think it's pressure of time, I think, really, for them. Thank you. Councillor Austin.
Well, I declare an interest, as I'm one of the only the two of us, I think, who are on both Borough Council and County Council. I go round with mostly once a month with the highways officer. But as regards BTAC, it starts at Chain Bridge, and it goes, my patch starts at Chain Bridge and goes, well, I always say to Slippery Gout, but of course you're in Wibberton by then. But it really, the only BTAC part is the people I represent on Wibberton Low Road, Wibberton West Road, and the industrial estate, which I've already referred to today. After that, I go down pretty well till you fall into the sea.
So what are you saying? Are you saying that you visit somewhere regularly?
Really do not have anything that would be, if there was anything relevant to report regarding your roads, our roads, I would do, but I'm not representing your roads, I'm representing the people, and mostly that involves the business community. I do recall also that, was it about 2 years ago, I had to report to this committee about what I have achieved for the town, and I seem to remember I went to a lot of trouble in finding well, all the things that I had done for the BTAC area and wider, and I sent those in to you. I can't remember why I wasn't there. Perhaps I was, but I've still got that document on my computer if you're interested. But I can't help you with the roads once we get beyond well, Marsh Lane roundabout, really.
Okay, I think we've got the thank you, Councillor Austin. We'll move on now to Councillor Gosh.
Thank you, Chair. It's regarding one point I want to make is BTAC events should be pre-planned as we are doing anyways, but the most important is budgeted, and that should be informed to the council. And now wearing the portfolio holder's hat, it's been informed to all the directorates. BTAC is also an identity asking for money from the council. So all the budget should go before the financial year. That then should be included in the council's budget. So I will ask for that. I think I've already discussed that with Phil.
Thanks and noted. Thank you. Councillor Woodliff.
Thank you, Chairman. Well, I suppose we're going to get something to do with the roads down to this borough BTAC. I'd like to see the executive member for the Lincolnshire County Council. I think it's Richard Davies. I'd like to see him here so he can face our wrath, if you like. The other thing is regarding the police, it's a really critical situation here. You've probably read in the press that the Lincolnshire police is desperate for cash, particularly desperate. It could go much, much worse. It's probably because the pressure of work that our inspector can't come in. But if we don't get best part of another £17 million extra on top, we could see some very serious changes for policing in this area, because the police authority won't be able to fund what we have at the current time. So I just want to keep people aware of that. As I sit on the police and crime panel, the budget will eventually come to us, and I'll of course inform all of you as to what's like to happen. But it's a very, very serious situation. It's been a very serious situation for a long period of time, and it's particularly serious, critical now. There are no reserves left, so it's make or break for Lincolnshire Police, I'm afraid. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Councillor Austin, can you put your microphone off for me, please? Thank you. That's all right. Right, I think I think nobody else wants to ask any more questions on that. Well, I think we've discussed that quite satisfactorily. So can we just take in then the work programme as noted? We've had all the extra bits and pieces to it that we've discussed. So everybody happy with that? We can move on. Thank you. Now we go on to the BTAC Small and Empowering Healthy Communities grant, and I've got Maddie Airy this evening, who's in charge of all the community grants. Maddie, over to you for your report.
Do you wish me to leave at this point? I am a trustee stroke director of Centrepoint Outreach, and I see that we are down to get some money, which I'll be incredibly grateful for. In other words, ought I to declare an interest?
Well, you've just declared an interest, and I think the best thing is you can just sit there and be quiet. Thank you. In a nice way. Right. Anybody else want to declare anything about the grants? Same as Councillor Austin does, because if you do, now's the time to shut up. Okay, and let's get on with it. Anybody else want to declare any interest in any of their charities? No. Maddie, over to you. That's if we discuss. That's if we discuss the grants, because there's any problems with it, then we have to go into what's the term? Private session. That's right. Yeah. Okay. So, Maddie, over to you again.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, everyone. My report this evening concerns presenting both small grant applications and Empowering Healthy Communities grant applications made to the BTAC grant working group, who sat on the 31st of October 2024. There were 7 eligible applications received in round 3 across both of the schemes, 2 applications to the BTAC Small Grant Scheme and 5 applications to the BTAC Empowering Healthy Communities Grant Scheme. Appendix 1 lists all of the applications received and the recommendations of the BTAC Grant Working Group. And that completes my report, and I hand back to the Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll open the meeting for comments and questions. But if we're going to discuss anything in detail, then we have to go into private session. All right. So does anybody want to make any comments? Are we all happy with just taking the report as read? Yes. Happy with the recommendations from the Small Grants Committee? Councillor Don, you want to speak first?
That's what I was going to do. So very happy with the report. Councillor Gleeson's moved it. I think you want to second. You can second, Councillor. I'm very happy, and thank you for your work, Maddie. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Are we all happy with the recommendations from there? Happy? Agreed. Thank you. We move on then. Thank you very much. So I do need a proposer and second. And so the proposer was, just again, remind me, Paul Gleeson, yes. Councillor Woodliff, right, so we've got that down there. Okay, right, so that concludes all the business for this evening. I'm going to close the meeting in a moment, but I'd like to ask all the committee members to sit back, just hold back for a few minutes. I'd like to talk to you on your own, and I'll let all the officers and all the public disappear for the time being. Thank you very much. Thank you.